Okay, it's recording. Okay, so so I'm asking you about sustainability, and I guess what I want to know is how. So you teach sustainability in your class, fifth grade class, right?
Yes.
I guess the best question to start with is how does your personal experience with sustainability inform what it is you bring into the classroom?
So I definitely think that sustainability is one of those huge umbrellas from which you can pull so many different facets to teach. So sustainability is one of those like metamorphic things that keeps changing in our environment. So like every year it's something new. I connect it with the seed of sustainability is resources.
Mm-hmm.
So after they have like this fundamental knowledge of resources, then I can like kind of branch off into like what are people doing to be sustainable in transportation, in eating, in this factor of life, and da 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 da. As far as my life is concerned, I practice parts of in the context of cooking.
Mm-hmm.
I practice a lot of sustainable practices that I bring into the classroom. With the rest of the population, I reduce, reuse, recycle.
Mm-hmm.
But I bring in a lot of new things and like new techniques, i.e. hydroponics, aquaponics, things that I'm learning along with the kids that are prevalent in today's society with the context of sustainability. So I would say like half of the things I teach are from my own personal life, and then half are the things that I'm evolving with them and learning with them as I teach.
Okay, that's good to know. So I'm hearing that it's by nature partial. Like there's no way there's not one orthodox canonical idea of sustainability that you can kind of go to and teach.
No, there's not a paradigm.
Exactly. Okay, good. So it's not paradigmatic, but that doesn't mean it means that you're also teaching what is relevant at that point in the year, in the city, in the community.
Which makes it so prevalent to like
Right.
not only being fifth graders, but being like an active part of like change in this society. So that's why it's so cool to work in a place where you have this forum from which to kind of go in any direction that I want, as long as I'm bringing it back to like the essential skills, which are using inquiry into all of these new ideas. Most of them are new for them. Besides, they think of sustainability as reduce, reuse, recycle. Well, that's just a teensy weensy little piece of sustainability. So bringing to their minds, never heard of beyond organic farming, vertical farming, hydroponics, aquaponics. All these various movements, the kids are brought to their attention. But no, I don't. There's not a curriculum I can follow. So it's just me reading cool articles, reading cool books, being informed, spending a lot of time on the internet, and talking to people in the community, and then kind of from that, in an inquiry base or using my knowledge of 12 years of teaching, kind of creating a curriculum that I think teaches skills while preparing them for middle school.
So I want to talk about how technology plays, because it's particular to the class I'm taking. Like, the technology is an essential part of what it is we're doing, and that kind of is tough for me to conceptualize. So it would be good to hear from you about that. But before I ask you about that, you've taught in a public school. Mm-hmm. So can you talk about the challenges in implementing something even like parts of this in your public school classroom, as it differs from what you would be doing here?
Yes, teaching the public school is really hard because you are given, so in the opposite spectrum, you're given a curriculum. And from there, you're trying to be creative, and how can I pertain this to the world, and how can I make them like love this and feel this? So you have amazing resources in public schools. You have Promethean boards. You have computer labs. With that being said, with a specific curriculum that tells you need to teach this on this day with these amount of days and these resources, do the kids become as involved and lovers of learning like they do in this school? No. So it's definitely harder because you have like, okay, these 2 days you need to do this lab and it needs to cover these concepts, and on this day you need to test them. You make sure they know those skills. So it's very much in this box, which is hard because it's like the oxymoron of science. Science is like this evolving thing that's like out there, and I want to get like the coolest, most innovative and new things to teach them to love science while teaching them important concepts.
Right.
So there's a lot of stifling feeling for me. Now, some teachers that like the structured, these are your vocabulary words in these 3 days and these are your 2 labs, they really thrive in that kind of environment. I found it difficult.
No, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. So do you think a public school would be somewhat would be easier for a person who wasn't as comfortable with sustainability? Like, let's say that there's a teacher like me who isn't really familiar with it. It's not something you read on my free time, and it's not something that my ears perk up at. So I might need vocabulary like that.
Yes.
But you find that you can't do what you want to do with your students in the time frame that you're given in a public school setting.
You know, and I worked always in low socioeconomic. So if you would conversate with a teacher that's taught in a school that always excels in their tests and they can really stray from the curriculum, then you would have a different conversation with them, because although I do teach vocabulary words as an integral part of what I'm doing, I'm not having to test the kids on every 2 to 3 days, so it's different. But yeah, so I think low socioeconomic, where you're focused on just them having the skills to pass a science test, is different than being in a public school where you have so much freedom because the kids are already high.
Right.
They go home to educated homes, educated parents, educated family members, friends, relatives, whatever. So my personal experience was working in the low socioeconomic, where it was very much structured until they took the test. And then the end of the year, it was like, okay, here's some freedom. So I could have, if I went back, some freedom at the end of the year to kind of throw this in.
Okay. Good to know. That would be nice. Okay. Technology.
Yes.
Not my strength, I don't think, when I compare myself to other people. And I always struggle with how to implement some projects and project-based learning, which is what we do here. So I guess my question is not only what is the role of technology, and by technology I guess I'm using it as a synonym for internet. What is the role of it? Is it really essential to the projects that you do? Is it essential to something like sustainability, I guess? That's a lot.
I don't think technology is a necessity in showing your learning. I think we live in a world of multimedia.
Right.
And so it is just the venue through which children can show their learning in a 2013 kind of something that resonates with the majority of people. Do I think I can teach sustainability and have them synthesize information without technology? Definitely. But if you're thinking of technology that's anything on paper, I mean, the biodomes that my students created, they created those pamphlets. Could they have, I mean, do you consider, are you talking about technology as in Prezi, as in anything that uses a computer?
Yeah.
I think that we can synthesize information and have our students show us quicker with technology. Could they have written that and drawn pictures? Yes. Would it exude the same message in a longer amount of time?
Mm-hmm. So really, it's about technology being efficient.
It's super efficient.
Okay. See, and I don't think about it that way.
And I don't think of it as a necessity. I think of it as just a more efficient way to see that they've grasped something. So, like, you can give your kids a paper test, 10 questions, or you can open up the Promethean. We don't have that here, but and have them do like a hand response. So, like, you know, how many of you da-da-da? So A, B, C, D. Like three people got it.
Good. I've never thought about it that way. All right.